What's poppin', baby? You feel me? Um, I'm gonna just do a little bit, just a little bit. I probably could go live from my phone for it too. That's the crazy part. But I'm just gonna talk about a little bit of college football and a little bit of NFL football from this past weekend. A good amount went on. Obviously, we're into the NFL season at this point now. Week two or week three, excuse me, week two of college football. One of the two. Um, it's coming past, right? And it's been a lot of crazy shit. Alabama lost to Texas. It's Texas back. USC is continuing with whoop ass. Colorado to me is a top 5 to 10. It's not 5. They're a top 10 team to me right now at the moment. Um, you got Florida State trying to make a resurgence. Georgia's dominant, continuing to dominate. Ohio State, Michigan, right? That's like a pretty cool look at like a top four probably would be right now, which is interesting because again, it's the top four now. Has a new ACC team in it. Michigan is in there consistently. Ohio State doing what they do. So teams that have been in there. One team has been in there still consistently through the duration of the playoffs. Has been at least for a while. A new SEC stalwart, and then as well some traditional talented programs that have found their way kind of back to grace, which is dope. A lot of good football, a lot of exciting football getting played out there right now. Um, if I look, and I would just go look, I guess to start. Um, Big games from last week. You had Texas versus Alabama, which I mentioned earlier. Nebraska versus Colorado. Notre Dame versus NC State. Iowa versus Iowa State. UCF versus Boise. Uh, Oklahoma State versus Arizona State, and we also had USC versus Stanford. But to start with that game, we all know how that went. USC versus Stanford wasn't much of a game at all. It was over basically in the first quarter, which is crazy. Um, right now, when I watch USC, I can't really figure out if USC is a high quality team or I can't really figure that out with USC right now. Um, they leave me confused a good amount of the time because I mean when I look at it realistically, like I feel like USC doesn't really ain't really playing nobody for what it is they sporting at quarterback, right? But that can't make sense at this juncture, right? Like it can't make sense to say, oh well, USC not playing nobody, like. But I can't really get a judgment on USC. Like I can't really call it with those guys. I don't know whether or not they're good. I mean, they talented. They got hella talent. But I don't know whether or not USC is for real or if they for fake. Um, what game am I looking for? Oklahoma? No, UCF versus Boise. Okay, this shit is in alphabetical order. Alrighty then, we will start with Oklahoma State versus Arizona State. Wasn't much of anything worth talking about. Them team. Um, yeah, Jalen Rashada didn't do very much of anything. Well, nobody did anything really in the passing game at all. Because Oklahoma State's quarterback only had 113 yards passing as well. He didn't throw any touchdowns. The other two quarterbacks, um, 2 touchdowns was pretty interesting. He threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception. They lost by about 12 points, somewhere around there. Okay, TV Brawl commercial. Um, yeah, SC destroyed Stanford 56-10. It wasn't even no point in them playing that game at that point. Central Florida and Boise State. Boise State lost by 2 points to UCF, which I figured that game would be pretty good. I figured they'd be two evenly matched teams. Traded a lot of field goals, 138-yard touchdown in the first half. Only two passing touchdowns the whole entire game. I think UCF's gonna finish the season ranked. I feel like they always do that every year. Boise State though, they got 2 losses back to back to Power 5 teams now because they lost to Washington the first week and then they lost to Central Florida, if I'm not mistaken, back to back weeks. So they're gonna have to get that together for sure. Colorado in a pretty big game for them. We're gonna talk obviously about the Deion train as it goes on, but again, I think this is the top 10 team right now. They 22 right now in the rankings about all the people who really know what they're talking about and really know the game and get paid to talk it. What I do believe though is I think Colorado's biggest thing could possibly be health. If they start having folks go down, like again, I'm looking at the sports books and I think they're locked to go over 6.5 wins. You could get you some bread off of that, even though the odds are starting to decrease because they know it's gonna happen. Something happened to that quarterback though, they in trouble, and he's got to protect himself, and they got to protect him. But again, I think they can be in the Pac-12 championship. I think it's the top 2 teams, if I'm not mistaken, in the Pac-12. I can see them playing USC or Utah twice if they do play Utah, but I can see them playing USC twice or even Oregon twice. And I think that they could possibly come out on the second end or the first, come out first both times. I think I gotta go see Zachariah Branch and Travis Hunter square off, and Shador Sanders and Shador and Caleb, excuse me, go drive for drive at quarterback, and I gotta check that out. Zachariah Branch is Cliff Branch's nephew from the Oakland Raiders. For anybody who's an Oakland Raider fan and stuff like that, I'll find some real dope shit about that and make some little posts about that. But that's what's hella cool. Like I didn't even know that. I was just happened to be just researching him and reading about him because I was just looking at that game again and just watching the ways in which he makes plays and different stuff like that. And that was one of the things that they mentioned, like, oh, he's Cliff Branch's nephew, casually. And I'm like, bro, what? So again, for him to be playing in the Coliseum is actually very, very crazy. Playing in LA, at least for the time being, is very, very crazy because again, that's not his grandson, his great nephew, excuse me. His great uncle used to play in that stadium and made history in that stadium, playing for the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a pretty big game. And again, Colorado won 36-14. They ran one going away by 10 plus points. Nebraska got to figure it out. Obviously, they got Jeff Sims, the quarterback from Georgia Tech last season, and then they're kind of trying to figure out what their system is going to be and how it's going to go, but not able and capable to beat this team. And I think that's one of the misconceptions I feel like a lot of teams are going to have about Colorado. They treating Colorado like Colorado is Jackson State. They're not fucking Jackson State. And if you want to treat them like Jackson State, they going to whoop your ass like Colorado, who is good. Deion Sanders playing dynasty mode. Sorry, I know y'all probably didn't realize that. Excuse me. I know y'all didn't realize. Let me get y'all right. Deion Sanders, he's playing dynasty mode. He doing this. Got creative player at receiver and corner, making him play both ways. Got his son at quarterback. Come on. Son at safety. He playing Xbox on us. We just along for the ride. Catch you a Colorado game if you can when they come to your city for real. It's a parade in your city, and the parade is Dion, Coach Prime. Iowa State 20-13. Iowa State ends up losing by 6 points. That's good for Iowa. Obviously, they've been struggling with their offense, if I'm not mistaken. That win was able to get them into the top 25, which was really good for them. And something that they needed, quite frankly, with all the struggles that they've had. I also mentioned North Carolina State, and Notre Dame. That was an interesting game because Sam Howell tended to struggle at Wake Forest when he played there against NC State, and again with a better level of talent or just the maturity and the understanding of this team now, and having matured as a quarterback, he was able to get them up out of there, play a good game. I think you could for sure bet and put Notre Dame in a lot of your parlays. Why it's hot? Because in a minute you ain't gonna be able to get no money out of Notre Dame because, quite frankly, them boys is good. Ain't no cap. They play the ACC schedule though. Again, that game against Florida State, if they play Florida State or when they play Florida State, it's gonna be a big game for real. I can't wait to see it. Then we also have Oklahoma State at Arizona State. Arizona State won by about 12. They won by 7, stupid boy. Yeah, they won by 7. They won by 12. I was right the first time. I can't count. I'm high. 55-50. Yeah, so they won by like 12 points, man. We talked about that to start. I'm faded a little bit. Oregon, Texas Tech. Now, that was a pretty interesting game because, I mean, I guess Texas Tech out here trying to shake a little something. You feel me? Like the Baby song. Oregon narrowly escaped defeat. You feel me? Like, like it was a superhero movie. But a last-minute fumble return at the end of that game, which was good on them and good for them, but you feel me? You definitely don't want to be in those situations where that's how you turn around and you end up winning that game. Let me see if I can pull up some clips for y'all, right? Let's check out some Travis Hunter epicness. Oh yeah, this possession was crazy. Yeah, Travis Hunter is an alien, bro. Deion got a creative player over there. That's crazy. These pages was back to back the same dang there. Weird. Very weird. I don't think it's gonna be switching from these guys. The U had a good game against Texas A&M. A lot of the Miami fans is claiming that the U was back off of that performance. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but they are playing quite well. These pages is ran by the same people. Alabama lost by 10. Jalen Milroe was throwing the ball into the defensive meeting rooms at the University of Texas. That shit was crazy actually to watch. Because anytime he actually could get the ball to the receivers, granted they got to call him some better plays and get some better scheming around what he does versus what they want him to do. The receivers was getting the ball and going crazy, but you can't be throwing the ball into no defensive meeting rooms. I mean, just flinging that thing in there, that shit was crazy realistically. Texas got a lot of good talent. We saw a lot of big legs and arms in the trenches pushing Alabama defenders all over the place when they wanted to. Good running back and tight end, too. The tight end reminded me of Jermichael Finley kind of vibes from back in the day when you look at it. So it's very interesting. We'll see what they're going to turn into with that. And their running back, too, was very stout and very strong. Reminded me like an Isaiah Pacheco, Marshawn Lynch kind of guy with how he pushed the pile and the defenders at the point of attack. When they meet, everybody went back. He wasn't going back too many times. When they came to bring it to him, he either stopped and went down or You feel me? So I think that was pretty good for them, and for him and for them. This week, I'm looking forward to North Carolina versus Minnesota. I'm looking for Michigan State at Washington, Pitt versus West Virginia, Penn State versus Illinois. You feel me? LSU, Mississippi State. My Heisman top 5 last week was Hartman, Penix, Marvin at number 5, Travis Hunter at 4, Drake May at 3, Jordan Travis, from Florida State at number 2, and Caleb Williams at number 1. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I spoke a little bit on what I thought a top 25 would look like. And if I didn't, I had Oregon State, my top 21, Oregon State, Michigan State, TCU, UCF, Tennessee, LSU, Colorado, Oregon State, North Carolina at 13, Notre Dame at 12, Texas at 11, Washington at 10, USC at 9, Utah at 8, Clemson at 7, Penn State at 6, Florida State at 5, Alabama at 4, Ohio State 3, Michigan 2, Georgia 1. Some notable notes on where teams were ranked in mine versus the original top 25. Colorado was unranked. I had them ranked 15th after they first went against TCU. I overranked Michigan State. Honestly, they only had beat Central Michigan. They only still got whack wins. Tennessee was 17. I had them at 10. They was 17 for me, 10 for the league. LSU was 16 for me. They was number 5 in the college football poll. Oregon, I had at 15. Oregon was 15. I had them 14. North Carolina was 13. Was ranked 20. Notre Dame at 12 was ranked 13th. Texas was ranked 12th for the national polls. 11th for mine. Washington 10 for me. 11 for the rankings. USC 9 for me. 6 for the rankings. Utah in top 8. They was 14 for the rankings. Clemson's top 7 for me. 9 in the rankings before they lost. And so on. Florida State at 5 for me. After whooping LSU how they did, they was at 8 already in the polls. I feel like I started saying, USC didn't have no competition. I feel like TCU lost to a top 10 team, so they should have been in the top 25. I feel like the end of the Pac-12 era is going to be very, 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 very epic. Like, when you're looking at what it is and how it's going on and how it's playing out, honestly. It's been incredible already to start. So, that was the top 21. I think Clemson for me right now, they rank is well in the polls, down at around 21, 22. They're 22 in the coaches poll, and in the AP top 25. They couldn't wait for the Clemson to start looking bad and losing. They got Clemson unranked. Clemson 1-1, lost to a pretty good North Carolina team probably when it all comes out. So I think we got to see what that's going to be. Kansas State is ranked all the way up as high as number 15. For me, they number 20. Oklahoma is ranked all the way up as high as number 18 and 16 in the respective polls. For me, I got them at number 19, North Carolina at number 18. I think North Carolina's quarterback is really, really good, and they're going to be able to do their thing. North Carolina seems to be where they stabilizing. Where you also see Colorado coming in at the rankings, right? 21, they also had 21 in the list, and number 18 at the list. I have them highly overrated in comparison to that. I'm not even going to front no cap on it. I believe in them. I believe in what Deion got going on. Because, again, like I said, it's not Jackson State. You can sleep if you want. They're going to see. Period. LSU is number 17 for me in the polls. They're up at number 14 on both. I just think as the season plays out, we're just going to see how they going to play and who they'll be. I'm always an LSU supporter, so I'm definitely going to put them a little bit lower to get them a little more space to climb up and get some good quality wins and work it out. Because, again, I know that's what it's going to be about. Jaden Daniels still balling, definitely. Now is where it gets a little fun. Teams that you don't expect, teams that are playing good and different things like that. A good trio, too. Oregon State 16, Iowa 15, Duke at 14. That is teams that come in realistically at 25, 20, and 16, 17. So I just think Oregon State, Iowa, Duke, similar to how I kind of got some of the teams ranked in my NFL polls, now it turns to if these teams played each other, who would come out. I think the team in the middle between all of them probably is the team that's going to come out, and that's Iowa if they all had to play each other. Even though Duke's defense played really, really good against Clemson. I think when I look at it, I think Oregon State probably has the best quarterback or tied for the best quarterback because Duke's quarterback did play good against a good Clemson team. But I think DJU is really, really good, followed by Duke's quarterback, and then you will go with Iowa, even though McNamara is good. So realistically, I think that's what I'm saying. Iowa, the team in the middle, I think is the team that will come out between them teams because I think they got a high-level defense. Program has been more consistent over the last few years, so they've got a lot more depth at everywhere, regardless of what will happen. And they have a quarterback that is on the same level as all three of the quarterbacks, or excuse me, all the other two quarterbacks that both of the other two teams got realistically. So honestly, I think we'll look up and Iowa will be possibly could be ranked highest out of these three teams. What's up, Honey? As Honey comes over here and gets a little pet. Number 13, we'll go in threes till we get to the top 5, I guess, right? Or the top 10. Number 13, 12, and 11, we got Utah, Tennessee, and Oregon. Tennessee, Utah, Oregon, excuse me. And that'll be 11, 12, and 13. Oregon, I think they just got to progress and do their thing. I think they could be a dark horse in the Pac-12 because they always got a good team. But again, I think in 2 weeks' time or a week and a half, they probably finna lose to Colorado. So they're going to have to not lose no more games in the Pac-12, and they still might have to play USC or still have to play Oregon State. Well, they for sure got to play Oregon State. And they still may end up having to play like a UCLA possibly on the back end. Utah, right? But I do definitely think that Oregon's got a really good team and a good quarterback in Bo Nix. Again, the Pac-12 this end of this year going to be epic because we're going to watch some good quarterback battles as long as the defenses – they got something for these defenses, and these defenses are gonna try and come in and bring the pain and ruin the party as best they can, and will be tested by the time a lot of these teams play. Utah at number 12, I think they are the team that got the best opportunity to rise, while their quarterback is also named as the phrase Cam Rising. As he's able to get healthy possibly for them and be able to participate, they could be real dangerous for real because they got all the makings of a dangerous team. They got the ability to bring a quarterback in who can run and throw, as well as keep Cam Rising in and Cam Rising do what he does. Strong running game, and they've always had a really, 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 really consistent defense. In my rankings, as I said we go 13, 12, 11. Oregon is at 13 in the regular rankings too. Utah's at 12. Tennessee is at 11. So I kind of mirrored a little bit. The coaches poll, though, it's a little bit different. They got different teams at 11. And at 11, they got Tennessee in the ranking poll, the top 25, the analyst poll. And the coaches poll, they got Notre Dame there, ranked that a little bit down for in a good riser climbing spot. Um, I think Tennessee as well with um, Cannon Arm QB. I think they got a chance to do a good amount. They play Florida this week. They probably finna whoop us. Uh, but they might not. And if they don't whoop us, then you know what that means. Next week I'm coming on here talking crazy about my Gators, baby. Um, I think Notre Dame is the best team out of these three. Tennessee, and this as a team in the middle, I think is the one that could shake the most shit up because they could maybe go on an SEC run, but you know they got to play Georgia at the end of it, so they probably not gonna get in. Notre Dame could win the ACC though. They got to get through Florida State to do that, and through Clemson, but they could for sure do that actually, and look up and be in the playoff. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think the riser spot is good because again, Tennessee ain't got no chance though. But Utah, they could fuck around and win the Pac-12 and make it to the playoffs though, because you will look and say they beat Florida again. They beat Florida after losing to them last year without Cam Rising. They possibly beat Colorado, or they possibly beat Oregon, or they possibly beat USC, and they beat one of them other teams at the least. How could you not want to put Utah in the playoffs and they won the Pac-12 championship? That'd be crazy. Notre Dame, though, as well, like I said, all those factors that, in those wins that they could get in the ACC or need to get in the ACC, winning them, beating them teams, and then going to the ACC championship, possibly beating the North Carolina, who I think that they probably would be better than, but I don't think they would have the best player in that game. Uh, is a real possibility for Notre Dame to make the playoff. So from there, we're gonna go to 9, from 9 to 7. Um, the coaches poll got Notre Dame, Washington. Excuse me, the AP poll got Notre Dame, Washington, and Penn State, and the coaches got Tennessee, Washington, and Penn State. I got Bama, Washington, and Colorado. Colorado at number 7, most notably, baby. I believe they got them at 19 and 21 because they trying to temper it. I don't need to temper it. They going to stay right there, and I'm going to be yelling all year about how they should have been in the college football playoff and this season over, and they possibly don't make it because ain't nobody paying no fucking attention. They got 2 Heisman Trophy candidates on that team. That shit is crazy. Alabama lost to Texas. Jalen Milroe, we talked about him earlier. He got to improve. Texas played a good game, and they did a lot to win. They deserve to get that dub. They played a lot. They did a lot last year, and they balled out hard last year. It just didn't work out their way. Steve Sarkisian then recruited and built him a little team, though. They good. That's all to say why Bama lost. Because they played against a good team, though. They took a good fade. That's why I ain't dropping them too far. They dropped out of the top 10, top 4 to 5 because I don't believe in Jalen Milroe right now. I don't see it. And if they don't got no quarterback besides him, then that's tough. But I believe in Nick Saban, though. And I think we could look up late in the year and they still be in the middle of everything with a non-conference loss. They don't have to take that fade. The other teams is not doing that. Washington, Michael Penix Jr. is another Heisman Trophy candidate. He's pretty good. We don't know a lot about Washington. We know that everybody say they got a lot of talent. They usually play good. They get in the playoffs to get smacked, though, so I don't really care. And again, though, if they ball and he balls, he might have a few good dubs on his little a few good little bodies on his little rap sheet. So they got Michigan State this week. In 3 weeks they play Oregon. They play at USC November 4th, home against Utah November 11th, at Oregon State November 18th, home against Washington State November 25th. And again, like literally, what? That's crazy. It's 4 games off in that whole thing, right? Out of that whole day, all those games that I said, Michigan State. So the end of the day schedule going forward is Michigan State, Cal, Arizona, Oregon, Arizona State, Stanford, USC, Utah, Oregon, Washington. That 10. Michigan State, Cal, Arizona, Oregon, Arizona State, Stanford, USC, Utah, Oregon State, Washington State. Only games that you taking off of there, from Washington, you saying that ain't nothing, they gonna be good, is Cal, Arizona, Arizona State. That's 7 games where you going into it though, and it's like, no, this is up in the air. until we find out like injury reports and everything for these next few weeks, it's like, yeah, no, this is a coin flip. Every game, 7 games is coin flip. They could turn around and be goddamn, what is that? They could turn around and be 4-7 and be good though. The Pac-12 got some shit going on. They could be 4-7 and be good. That's crazy. Big old USC at the top. USC, Arizona State, Colorado, Arizona, Notre Dame, Utah, Cal, Washington, Oregon, UCLA. So they got 9 games left because they played San Jose State early. Arizona, Arizona State, Cal, UCLA. 5 games. Oregon, Washington, Utah, Notre Dame, Colorado. 5. That's 5 possible losses. Now, USC ain't, to me, as good as Colorado. I think Colorado, top to bottom, is good. Even though USC got some guys, they do. They got some really good guys. I believe in Deion over Lincoln Riley. And Lincoln Riley done been to the playoffs, so I sound crazy as hell saying that shit. But, again, bro, that's five possible losses for a good team like USC. For a good team like Colorado, Colorado State, Oregon, USC, Arizona, Stanford, UCLA, Oregon State, Arizona, Washington, Utah. 10 games. Colorado, Arizona State, Arizona. I respect UCLA. 7. They could ball hard and still have 7 losses, and then we be looking crazy like, dang. And again, I'm predicating all of this off of quarterback battles too. Them getting in there and they're going to have to scrap against these folks. Like, what? These quarterbacks are going to thug it out. The Pac-12 got some dudes. We'll do one more. Utah, because Utah the one, though. Utah shit is tough because they waiting on Cam Rising. Still, one day ago, they still waiting for Cam Rising to come in, so Johnson will be the starter again. Weber State, UCLA, fuck that. Weber State already a win. UCLA, Oregon State, Cal, USC, Oregon, Arizona State, Washington, Arizona, Colorado. 9 games. Cal, Arizona State, Arizona. 6 losses in Utah college football playoff fringe team. Pac-12 got a lot going on. The team with 1 win is a playoff team. That's stamp that. The winner of the Pac-12 is a playoff team because you got too many teams that can have 2 losses, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses, battling, and still have to be fucked up. Barely make a bowl just because they going to Pac-12 really going out shooting like the hood crazy over here, man. And for that reason, Washington State and Colorado, I think are 2 little fringe in the spot teams that you could look up at. And you could say, dang, okay, these fools low-key is a college football playoff team. Whether they beat each other in the in the conference championship game, or one of them just makes it out of the conference and is able to get to the championship game. That's going to be the thing, too. Whatever team kind of got the least of the crazy quarterback, the good ones, late, too, or early is the ones. Again, Colorado going to have a tough test at Utah at the end of the season. Because Cam Rising possibly going to be back at that point. That's going to be tough. Let's see. Texas, they got a good win against Alabama, man. Oh, no, excuse me. That's the next ones. The next 2. My French 2. So, right, okay, so that was 7. Colorado at number 7. I got Colorado highly overrated. I love Colorado and what Deion is doing. The Pac-12 on my list alone got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams in here. The SEC got 1, 2, 3, 4. The ACC got 1, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. Big 12 got 1, 2, 3. Big 10 got 1, 2. Um, um, number 6 and number 5, I got Texas and USC. They can't fuck it up though, cause they only got one other time to fuck it up after this. Meaning they gotta win the conference. If they fuck it up and lose one time to anybody, two times they done for. Unless it get real crazy in the Pac-12, USC could get in with 2 losses for sure. Texas ain't going nowhere with 2 losses though. Fuck that. That's not happening. I don't care if they lose to Kansas State and they lose to Oklahoma. If you lose to Oklahoma, you know you done. You can't lose to Kansas State. Period. I think when it come down to it, uh, they in a good spot, but they can't fuck it up. The team least likely to fuck it up, I believe, is Texas. In between those two teams, like which one is the third team? Um, it's Texas is that type of team. I feel like Texas is the one where they in a good spot. They could have seen they can win the whole conference for real going away this year based on what it looks like they got because they played a lot of close games last year. And this year they turned a close game in against Bama into a going away game by making the plays they needed to make. So that's 6 and number 5, 4 Florida State, 3 Ohio State, 2 Michigan, 1 Georgia. Pretty simple. We ain't got to talk about it. We kind of know how it is. Florida State ascending right now, though. They done shot up everybody's boards. But at the end of the year last year, I feel like they finished strong, too. So Ohio State, we got to figure out who their quarterback is. Michigan, we know who they are, though. Georgia, we know who they are, too. They'll probably face off in the playoffs, in the championship, possibly. Ohio State is another can't fuck it up team, though. They lose and fall down. Then they drop in around 7, 6, 5, where, you know, you got Colorado, USC, Texas. And then it get interesting. Ohio State lose again to Notre Dame. That's a good loss, but you don't want to be losing to too many of them teams in there. Notable games for this week, and then I'm gonna just give a little Heisman list real quick. Florida State versus Clemson. First big test for Florida State, and a chance for Dabo and Clemson to show that ain't shit changed. LSU versus Arkansas. LSU haven't lost that first game in Florida State the way it looked. I feel like everybody should look at them and feel like they could beat them. They got to go show it, though. Alabama and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is ranked. Bama just came off a loss to a ranked team, so you got to be feeling like Alabama's vulnerable, but knowing that they come with one of their best shots. That's week 4, excuse me. Because we talked about this week's game. Only notable game is Pitt versus West Virginia this Saturday as well. Besides Tennessee, Florida, Washington, Michigan State, North Carolina, and Minnesota, that would just be a good game for Drake May. Or Colorado at Oregon, which will be next week. That's gonna be a good game. I don't trust Bo Nix, so you already know who I got. Utah versus UCLA as well to be played. Oregon versus Washington State. Again, look at the Pac-12 already getting ready, already starting just that fast. We might look up just that fast and be like, dang, Colorado got blew out. Dang, they played their first Pac-12 team. Oregon ran these niggas out the building. We could really be talking about that on Sunday morning. We could be talking about that on Saturday at 2 o'clock, at 3 o'clock. We could really be talking about how Oregon ran Colorado up out of there. Just because the Pac-12 is that good. Notre Dame versus Ohio State next week. North Carolina versus Pitt. Penn State versus Iowa. USC versus Arizona State. I think that last one is going to be good. Just see Jalen Rosada possibly play against USC. But they defense aggressive, so he get to acting like a freshman. They going to be picking that little nigga off, and it's going to be over. Notre Dame and Ohio State is a version of Clemson, Florida State to me, because it's going to shape the top 25 very drastically, very early. But it's going to be a good get-out-of-jail-free card for both of them teams because that's not a conference game. I lost to Notre Dame. I lost to Ohio State. It looks pretty good if one of them teams is undefeated and winning their conference, possibly. I don't know how you're going to pull that with 4 losses in the Pac-12, but it's real, man. You could really have 4 losses. Your 4 losses be, y'all lost to Caleb Williams, Shedeur Sanders, DJU, and goddamn a good Utah team. And it's just like, yeah, man, how am I not ranked in the top 10? My Heisman top 5. I got Michael Penix from Washington. Again, we look up at the season and Washington got 1 loss or no losses, that means he just ran through 3 other Heisman Trophy candidates on that team and a good ass Utah team. Like Washington in a good little spot. And on my list, they're number 8, right in between Alabama and Colorado. Meaning again, out of those teams, I don't know if it's realistic to say that they could turn around and make the playoff between them, Bama, and Colorado. I mean, they got more chance than Colorado. They got as even of a chance as Notre Dame, but a harder road and a just as hard a road as like Alabama, just on strength of teams. But if Michael Penix ball, like they could turn around and be a college football playoff team. Now, do I know if that means that they're gonna be able to contend? No, I just know that means he good. That's all I'm saying. That's why he's number 5 on my Heisman list. Number 4, Shedeur Sanders. He balling like crazy. Like, that shit don't even make no sense. It don't even make no sense. I was mad at him like an old head because he flashed his little Rolex in the boy's face. But I really don't care because he flashing the Rolex in the boy's face every time he drop back to pass. He does need to throw the ball away. He talked about that. Was drifting a lot in the pocket and running around and stuff like that. Shedeur, we know you can run around. Let's Brady ball it. And that's a lot who he's like. He reminds me a lot of Tom Brady, honestly. Like, it's not about me getting it all when I want it. I'm going to just continue to be consistent. We're going to strike and we're going to get what we're going to get when we need it. Next on my list is number 3, Travis Hunter. I think if Travis Hunter finished this year out doing what he's doing, he could have 4 or 5 picks on defense, probably 1 or 2 touchdowns return from the secondary, like in the interceptions. And it also have 1,000 yards receiving and be such an integral part of Colorado being the number 7 ranked team. Like, I got them at number 7 on my list right now. I think that's where they're going to finish ranked in the country. We'll see, though. They got to protect Shedeur. Shedeur got to protect himself and help Travis Hunter. Also, one of the reasons why Shador could make the Heisman Trophy list even higher, and why, even though I got Travis Hunter higher than him right now, they really gonna keep rotating, and that's probably what's gonna take them out unless they end up undefeated. Then it'll be them both, and maybe we'll see a co-Heisman Trophy. Probably not. Um, it's the fact that, again, like, to get where they gotta get, that means Shador and Travis Hunter and these boys finna wreck shop all the way there though. Again, we got their schedule up right now. That means next week against Oregon, after they just show out against Colorado State and just get their numbers again. Good game against Oregon. I get a pick. I get some good touchdowns, some good receptions, some good yakage. Next week against USC at the crib, national game. The whole world is fucking watching y'all ball. I'm sorry, I don't believe in USC defense. They're going to have to show me. They're going to get off. That's going to be a good game regardless either way. A lot of fireworks. What could Travis Hunter and them guys do? Travis Hunter, I think, going to get one off of Caleb Williams. I believe it. Travis Hunter chased down again, you know, we like epic feats of athleticism in American sports as well. So again, Travis Hunter chased down on like a Caleb Williams in a long run downfield, or Zachariah Branch making a good play against him in the passing game, or oh my God, this game got so many great players. Jerry Rice's son is playing in this game. I'm yelling. I'm sitting here yelling like because I'm so excited, and I forgot Brendan Rice is on USC team. This is literally like arguably going to be one of the greatest collections of namesake talent as well as growing and refining talent towards the pros in the history of college football. This is, I got to go to this game. This is going to be crazy. I don't know what lightning strike, shout out God, sent Brendan Rice's name down to me. I forgot Jerry Rice's son plays for USC. And played at Colorado just the year before, or the year, or last year. So not probably not realistically, because Deion done transferred 80% of the roster. Not a lot of these Negroes know this dude, but some of these dudes know this dude. Damn, this game gonna be wild again. Travis Hunter lined up against Brendan Rice. Lined up against what? Travis Hunter getting lined up against Jerry Rice blood and Cliff Branch blood is crazy. This nigga is playing video. I told y'all Deion playing NCAA Dynasty mode. Yeah, I'm going to clip that. That's crazy. I didn't even realize that. Epic. Again, that matchup, what that would say. Getting your numbers against Arizona State is going to happen. Getting your numbers against Stanford. We seen what USC did against them. It's going to happen. They're going to get picks. You're going to get picks and chips. This is all talking about Travis Hunter, though. Why Travis Hunter is going to be number 2 probably in the Heisman when it all comes down if they really show him his love. Got to stay healthy, though. All these snaps he playing is the only thing. I think definitely against like Arizona or even this week against Colorado State, I don't think he should play no defense. He should probably take the week off on defense this week. That's going to make his Heisman Trophy candidacy look whack. Maybe get him the first quarter and get it. He don't need to play no more defense. He don't need to play no defense this week against Colorado. They play Oregon next week. We need you. And then USC the next week. No. Keep the RPMs low. Let's keep the low management and the numbers. You know, the snap counts low. Like, he don't need to play against Colorado State this week. Deion need to do that. That would make sense. Like, come on, Deion. It's going to stink because it's against Colorado State and it's a rivalry game back-to-back weeks. But realistically, like, they need him for USC, not for having fun against Colorado State. They're going to win that game anyway. And he probably don't need to play no defense against Arizona State after whatever the hell going to happen against USC. So he probably going to have 2 games where he going to not play no defense, come back against Stanford, get 2 picks. What's my boy name? Dion, whatever he is, for UCLA, the young boy. UCLA got the number 1 recruit quarterback down there in Pasadena, or up there in Pasadena with Chip Kelly. I got to check him out weekend before last. I went to the UCLA game. He was talented. He came right off the bench and threw a touchdown. That was crazy in the heat of the game. Against a good Coastal Carolina team, too. So, again, being able to get some good play in against that team, UCLA going to get blew out by a few of these teams, these good Pac-12 teams. But they're going to be able to stay in some games, at least to start, because Chip Kelly is good. He's a good coach. Oregon State, I just see Colorado winning that game if everybody healthy. Arizona, get you some numbers and some stats. But, again, a good game. Washington State, At the time, they may be possibly unranked, but they rank right now. And then Utah, like, so I think Travis Hunter, just that list of teams that you're gonna be playing in the Pac-12 and those performances he's gonna have, I think should put him in top of the Heisman. Uh, this is odd. Sometimes this happens. I know last week when I did the list, right, and not that it's odd, but it just go like that. Last week when I did the list, at number 5, I had 3 people. I had Sam Hartman, Michael Penix, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison ain't winning the Heisman. Sorry. It's Quinn Ewers and Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis cold. I ain't gonna cap. Like, ain't nobody talking about him because I don't know what year he is, but Jordan Travis is really, really good. I think he could for sure win the Heisman Trophy if Florida State balling, because again, that means that they to beat Clemson, Notre Dame, North Carolina, LSU. Like that's some good dubs. Just listening it off. That's some good little victories for real. So he's definitely a Heisman hopeful right now. And leading Florida State, he's athletic, talented. He remind me of Johnny Manziel, like a bigger Johnny Manziel for real. Like who they thought Johnny Manziel could be, I think is who Jordan Travis may end up being. And then number 2, come here, honey. Get from over there. Quinn Ewers. He balled pretty well last year for Texas and then balled very well at a very high level. My boy was throwing moon balls. He was throwing the ball off the TV screen. He was going so high with some of these nines he was throwing, some of these posts and shit. He threw against Alabama. I mean, heaving them things like javelins. The Bills need to keep their eye on Quinn Ewers because Josh Allen ain't it. He's number 2. Him and Jordan Travis, I would have tied number 2 for the Heisman, and then number 1, it'd be Caleb Williams. I don't think he's unseated until he's unseated. I don't think he should come down from number 1 in the Heisman list until he lose, and then even then, it's about what the loss look like. If he go for 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and rush for another touchdown, and had like 40, 50 yards like he probably do against as many people as he humanly can, you can't even turn around and be like, oh, well, Caleb this, Caleb that. You got to turn around and be like, well, shit, these niggas lost. Caleb didn't. So, yeah, that'll be my college bitty bit. So, I want to just talk about a few teams. I just got some notes and some different little stuff on NFL teams because I could do another video before Thursday. I don't got to jam it all in today. So I'll just talk about a few teams realistically, not too crazy. Cincinnati ended up losing to the Browns. That O-line for all that money they paid is still so suspect, which is so crazy to me. Joe Burrow had 82 yards passing or something like that, which is crazy. Realistically, that couldn't be 82. But again, like their defense was able to stay in the game for the most part, but still struggled. Weren't able to stop Cleveland from running the ball physically and getting down the field. Even though Deshaun Watson struggled and Deshaun Watson still looks rusty, Joe Burrow looked rusty too. And it's important that these quarterbacks play in preseason. That's going to be one of the things that I'm going to continue to talk about, especially when I talk about the NFL Week 1 part through probably Week 3 at least. These guys got to play, man. Everybody can't be sitting down Cadillacing and shit, chilling, looking all cool. Like, bro, no, you got to get out there and play. Like, no, we don't want you to get injured, but I also don't really want you getting your bearings right and getting your wheels right while the bullets is flying. We got to find some kind of healthy medium for that. We'll see, though. I think Joe Burrow going to get right. He got to be healthy. Got to take care of himself. But what we seen with Aaron Rodgers, he had a calf injury. Everybody looking at Joe Burrow with the side eye right now because they do not want to see that guy go down. Who else? Excuse me. The Vikings lost to Tampa Bay, which is pretty interesting. Kirk Cousins is not that guy to me. I'm sorry, I'm not going for that shit. Y'all could fall for that bullshit. Me, I'm not even that kind of guy. I'll let a girl trick me before I let a guy trick me. Um, Letting go of Dalvin Cook was a mistake. He ran pretty well for Minnesota. I mean, for the Jets on Monday night. Uh, they could have used him against Tampa. I think if he played in the Tampa game, he makes 1 or 2 plays against them and win, going away in that game. Um, then again, they lose at home to Tampa Bay too with no running game. They had 41 yards rushing. That's crazy. Denver lost again. Russell Wilson is not that guy right now. If he's that guy anymore, we gonna see Denver. I just don't know. Like, they got a good defense. Their defense is for sure active. Their secondary is good, but their quarterback and the offensive line is a struggle. You want your spray? Huh? I don't know. Like, do they trade Russell Wilson? Do they try and get out of the contract? Do they cut? Like, what do they do, dude? Like, they are literally a struggle bus situation right now. And it's all seeming to be because of Russell Wilson. It was supposed to be that he got there and he was, and again, granted, he can't fix offensive line, right? He can't fix it. These motherfuckers can't block. He can't do, there's nothing he actually could do about that at the end of the day. But shit, he signed himself up for that shit, realistically. My question for the Bears is, does Justin Fields suck? Because they suck. The Titans, y'all got to figure out y'all quarterback situation. Some of these, we gonna finish. That's how I'm gonna do this too. Some of these is just gonna be the quick throughs. Period. Like, Titans, Bears, Denver. Do your quarterbacks suck? Ryan Tannehill for sure sucks. So the Titans got to figure out who else besides him don't suck. And then, granted, he's better than me at playing quarterback, but Ryan Tannehill is not good at being an NFL quarterback. I'm sorry, he's not good. Russell Wilson is not good at being an NFL quarterback right now. Justin Fields is not good at being an NFL quarterback right now. He's good at being an NFL athlete, playing quarterback. Come here, honey. So they're going to definitely have to get that figured out. Houston, they played good. They lost to the Ravens, unfortunately. C.J. Stroud was 28 for 44. That's a lot of passing attempts for a rookie in the first game. No, they do not need to be doing that. 28 to 44 is freaking crazy. 242 yards, no passing touchdowns. Will Anderson had 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits, and 6 tackles, which was good. Robert Woods ball, too. They fed him the ball pretty actively. From teams, right? We talk about teams who quarterbacks suck, the teams that got some potential at quarterback. The Colts as well. If they can protect Anthony Richardson, it seems like they got a quarterback there. Something they couldn't do with Andrew Luck. Him and Michael Pittman combined for 97 yards of their passing yards in total. And their defense was getting a lot of takeaways, which I think was really good. The scheme is really good. Same scheme, similar scheme that Jalen Hurts ran last year, which was really good. And Ant, he seemed to be moving fast. As a Florida Gator fan, at the end of the day, he beat Utah by himself last year. And all the other teams damn near that they played last year. Because now when you look at Florida, they ain't got no offense. Parasol is not that dude at receiver, but they're going to pump him up like he is. So, again, I think it'll be interesting. And I think the last team that I'll mention, Anthony Richardson and him could be really good together. And Jonathan Taylor, they could be really, really good. Tampa Bay, they may have discovered something with Baker. They got to see. That's a good environment and a good team for him to be with. Good high-quality wide receiver. So if he can make some plays and make some things happen, they might do something, honestly. At least win a division, for real, right? That division is a winnable division. But he's got to protect the football, got to protect himself. He realistically don't need to be trying to stiff-arm people and slam people into the ground talking about get your weight up, because then when you hurt, Baker Mayfield going to be trying to tell everybody he hurt. That's why he playing bad. So he needs to stop that shit. They got a good dub in Minnesota, though. We'll see what the rest of their season looks like. In that division, it's a very winnable division. Very winnable division at the end of the day. The Saints is good as hell, though, and that's going to be hard to beat. But they got a capable team that's not going to back down from the Saints. That Tampa Bay team knows that they could beat New Orleans any given week. Bryce Young played pretty well. Carolina sucks on offense. They stink. They receiving core probably wackest from the league. Shout out to Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell. We're going to talk about them in a few days. Unfortunately, the Jets, I'm not going to beat the dead horse and stuff like that. Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles on 9/11 on Monday night. Their season, unfortunately, is in the balance. In my notes, I have that their season is over, but we'll see what Zach Wilson and them guys do. Their defense is hella good, but Aaron Rodgers did end up going out, so that'll be, unfortunately, how it shakes out for them. I'm going to cut it right there, though. I did a good hour talking to the camera, talking about ball. We'll return probably in a day or so, to get a little talk in Thursday night. I think we got the Vikings and the Eagles, excuse me. Y'all already know that I ain't rooting for Kirk Cousins. I don't believe in that shit. The Vikings gonna lose, and they probably gonna lose going away because the Eagles won, but it felt like they lost the way people talk, and the Vikings lost, and people talk about them how they lost. So I feel like the Eagles is gonna come out and be dominant, and that D line gonna be body slamming Kirk Cousins because they don't got no run game. So we'll see how it's gonna go. Shout out to anybody that will watch. Thank you for anybody that will watch. Check out my clips.